A Rathdrum man who police say admitted to beating his 11-year-old daughter was in court today. Everything we know about the case and the charges he's facing.
As we start a brand new week, we are tracking some very toasty temperatures. Why exactly we're feeling the heat.
Plus, how the Zags plan to replace Mario Saint Supery as he packs his bags for Spain. That's coming up tonight on your Night Report. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Night Report here on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. A Rathdrum man appeared in court on charges of domestic felony injury to a child. The Rathdrum Police Department says 32-year-old Aaron Dyke admitted to beating his 11-year-old daughter with a belt. KREM 2's Regan Gallo brings us more tonight. We do want to warn you that some of the information in this story is disturbing.
In Kootenai County Court, a judge set a $500,000 bond for Aaron Dyke, who could face up to 35 years in prison if convicted. A no-contact order was also issued for the victim, Dyke's 7 other children, and the family home. Prosecutors described 2 separate incidents they say caused serious injuries to his 11-year-old daughter, including a most recent alleged incident on July 5th.
As well as an earlier instance of beating her 15 to 20 times with a leather belt, as well as dragging the victim around their living space by her ear in order to direct and control her.
Investigators say it wasn't until July 10th that authorities were called to a location off Highway 41 after Dyke reported his daughter was having a seizure. According to court documents, Dyke was allegedly taking his daughter to the hospital after she showed more signs of illness. Investigators reveal that Dyke allegedly spanked the girl with a belt after accusing her of stealing a watch from a sibling. Documents say she vomited for 5 days afterward and was unable to keep food down. Court records also allege the child suffered extensive bruising, scabs, and kidney failure, requiring emergency dialysis. Now, Rathdrum police report the 11-year-old girl was transported from Kootenai Health to Sacred Heart Medical Center, where authorities say she is now in critical condition. Now, I talked to professionals with Vanessa Behan, an organization that specializes in child abuse prevention and crisis counseling. They talked to me about how the community can help parents and caregivers spot warning signs of child abuse or how to get help before a situation turns into a crisis.
And we know things are going south. If you see a child who has the appearance of abuse and neglect, maybe bruises and injuries that don't look like something would be normal, right? A typical bump on the head because they're a toddler and they run into a countertop or something like that. If things don't look normal, I think asking questions to see if you can provide that support or engagement and just connect with the family. But if it's serious enough, then there are places you report to. Child Protective Services is an organization that's meant to help families.
That was our Regan Gallo reporting. Aaron Dyke is scheduled for a preliminary hearing in the next 2 weeks. We'll keep you updated as this case unfolds. The city of Post Falls is the first city agency in Idaho to join a federal immigration enforcement program to work directly with ICE. The city says the agreement falls under the 287G Immigration and Nationality Act. Post Falls Chief of Police Mark Brantle says that the program gives officers an opportunity for another tool in their toolbox. Community leaders, though, from Idaho for All say that the decision made community members feel blindsided.
Nothing changes with the way we police. And so we're not going to be going around profiling or pulling over cars just because of the way somebody looks. It is based on probable cause and it's based on a criminal investigation.
We don't believe that North Idaho or Idaho in general has a criminal immigration problem. There are many other things that need attention, but that certainly is not one.
And the agreement does not make every Post Falls police officer an ICE agent, but a select 5 will receive specialized training from Homeland Security. Federal immigration officers shot and killed a man in Maine today. Immigrant rights groups and a source from CBS News identified him as 26-year-old Juan Sebastian Guerrero from Colombia. They say he was authorized to work in the U.S. and had a social security number. Maine Senator Angus King said Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin told him that the officer opened fire after the man tried to use his vehicle as a weapon and that the officers were there to serve an arrest warrant, but it was not for the person they shot. Health officials in North Idaho are warning people tonight about a parasite that's causing an intestinal illness. Cyclosporiasis is caused by a microscopic parasite called Cyclospora. While health officials here say that there's no indication of a local public health emergency, they want to make sure folks know what to do in case they think they've been exposed. Symptoms of the parasite can include diarrhea, stomach cramps, bloating, nausea, fatigue, and loss of appetite.
Sometimes people can experience symptoms for a few days, and it can persist over, about a month or so. And sometimes they can have relapsing symptoms where they seem to go away and then come back.
The illness is most commonly spread through contaminated food or water. It's not typically spread from person to person. If you do experience some of these symptoms, Spokane Regional Health recommends that you contact your healthcare provider. A trial starts today against the popular grocery store chain Albertsons. The Washington Attorney General's office claims that Albertsons pharmacies fueled the opioid crisis. The AG's office alleges the retailer repeatedly failed to catch warning signs that the drug may be misused or diverted to the illicit drug market. This is against both state and federal law. Attorney General Nick Brown released a statement saying, quote, Albertsons' failures in dispensing and distributing those pills tore apart families and put immense strain on public resources. They must be held accountable. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson announced a proposal today to make it a requirement for all high school seniors to complete the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, in order to graduate. According to the governor's office, about half of Washington families qualify for federal student aid, but the state consistently ranks near the bottom for the number of students who complete the application required to receive that free college funding. Right now, Washington's FAFSA application rate is about 51%. Some districts in this state say that they already require FAFSA applications for graduation. FAFSA is required to access federal funding like the Pell Grant, which provides money for low and moderate income students. It's also used to access the Washington College Grant, which can be used for tuition, supplies, and living expenses. All right, let's take a break from the headlines and head to our outdoor weather center where meteorologist Cody Proctor is standing by. It was a toasty day and you're tracking a pretty warm few days ahead. Cody.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sydney. We're mostly looking at highs into the 90s for us this week. A lot of that coming from that effect of the heat dome that is impacting much of the country right now. Even tonight as we head into our late night hours, it's pretty comfortable out here, but we're in the late hours of our evening for tonight. Currently 78 degrees right now over at the Spokane airport. At least the winds are light, west-southwest winds at 5 miles per hour. Our relative humidity as we continue to cool down and get closer to that dew point, and that relative humidity continues to increase. But still, it has been dry outside around our region. You can see our temperatures as we head into tonight. Still pretty warm for the most part. Low 80s right now for Wenatchee and Moses Lake. 63 right now for Sandpoint as we head into tonight. It's a big difference compared to the same time yesterday. Pretty much all of us are feeling the heat as we head into the rest of the evening as we take a look right there. Hour by hour for tonight, tomorrow morning, we should still see a pretty mild start to the day. And by personal request by Sydney, here's the camping forecast as we head into tomorrow. We are looking at highs in the low 90s for tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies. Should see some clearer conditions for Spokane for tomorrow in the low 60s. But we're going to see those 90s for a few days. And we are keeping track of a chance for some isolated thunderstorms for some for tomorrow. More on that in your full forecast.
Cody, thank you. To our wildfire coverage tonight, crews responded to a brush fire in northeast Spokane today. Spokane County Fire District 9 says the fire is burning on the west side of Little Baldy Mountain. Crews say the fire is fully contained tonight. It burned about 5 acres today. Firefighters worked through the evening, mopping up hot spots and strengthening those containment lines. And according to fire officials, the B&O fire burned about 2,800 acres so far in Okanagan. That's just outside of Omak. The Okanagan County Emergency Management says that at least 3 homes were destroyed. The fire is 95% contained tonight. Here's an updated look at the evacuation map. You can see those level 1 get ready evacuation notices still in place there in green. That's just south of Vic Smith Road. Salmon Creek does remain closed for firefighter access. And the Upper Smith fire burning near Bonners Ferries burned about 450 acres. It is still 0% contained tonight. According to the U.S. Forest Service, lightning caused this fire. Smith Creek Road and the Long Canyon Trail are closed right now for fire access. There are no evacuation notices at this time. The Greer fire is now 35% contained. Highway 11 in Idaho, south of Orofino, was shut down this weekend because of that fire. Today it's open to one lane of traffic, and a pilot car is escorting vehicles through the area. The Clearwater County Sheriff's Office says the highway opened at 9 p.m. tonight, with that pilot car returning tomorrow morning. The Idaho Department of Land says the fire has burned about 350 acres so far. Crews are working on containment lines, and there are no evacuations at this time for this fire. U.S. Central Command says it launched the third consecutive night of strikes against Iran. This is at the direction of President Trump. The U.S. and Iran both say they have control over the Strait of Hormuz tonight. Trump says that the U.S. will collect a 20% security reimbursement fee on all cargo shipped through the waterway. The United Nations agency responsible for the safety of international shipping says there's no legal basis to collect tolls for passing through a strait. Under President Trump's orders, the blockade will be back in place starting on Tuesday at 4 p.m. All right, stay with us. We have a lot more to get to tonight. Coming up next, North Idaho is facing a doctor shortage. What healthcare providers are doing to try and fix it, that's in 90 seconds. Plus, more than 100,000 voter signatures are putting Idaho's abortion ban on the ballot in November. How the initiative could become law, that's in 3 minutes.